Okay, so this is our pitch for our film Repressed. The plot summary is a young man is haunted in his dreams by his deeply traumatic past, and he uses therapy to uncover the truth about what's going on in his dreams, why he's seeing these things, what happened in his past, and his therapist is going to help him come to terms with everything that's happened.
The genre is very much like a mixture of like psychological drama and horror. So films that it kind of replicates to a bit is like Black Swan and Requiem for a Dream. It's like both like Darren Aronofsky films. So they're both very psychological based, but they've got a lot of drama elements in them as well. And it's really based on like how the people cope with certain situations, and that's very much what the film's about as well.
The locations we're going to use in the opening is, well, in his dream, we're going to hopefully film an abandoned barn, but if we can't get that, we're just going to film it in a woodland area. And for the therapist office, if we can't get an office, we'll just have like a plain room with some chairs or a sofa and a desk.
We have two main characters, Michael, the man who has these dreams about his past. He's going to be aged between 18 to 23, so university age, and he's going to be having this traumatic past. He's so troubled by it that he seeks the help of the therapist Vivian. He really wants to know what's happening in his dreams, what's causing them, why these are happening, and he just wants to get to the bottom of it. And yeah, Vivian is his therapist.
The main event of the film opening is the dream, and it just kind of cuts back and forth between the dream and a dialogue over the top, like a voiceover from the therapy room of Vivian and Michael talking. And it's about him explaining what happens in the dream, and then obviously the big question is what happens at the end of the dream, but you don't find out in the opening, because that's like the main narrative hook for it to keep the audience watching throughout the rest of the film.
The themes in the film are going to be mental health, because obviously Michael, he suffers from his past trauma, and he's experiencing these dreams. And the reason he's experiencing dreams is because he was abused when he was younger. And it's also a feeling of insanity, because as he goes on a journey throughout the film, he feels like he's becoming more and more insane because of these dreams that happen every night.
So the middle and the ending of the film, as we progress to the middle of the film, Michael's condition starts to deteriorate, and Michael's therapist starts to become more obsessed with him. And she's non-stop on his case, 24/7, even when she's out of her working environment, where mainly therapists would look into it. And as the result of his condition deteriorating, that means he's going to need more therapy sessions, which means she will become more attached to his condition. As he breaks down near the ending of the film, so then that's when the hunt for the abuser starts. Michael's therapist Vivian starts to hunt down, and she's going to try and find this person, and then, if so, kill the person. But does she kill the right person in the end? That's the end. Thank you for listening. So if you've got any questions.
Can we clap? Okay. Off you go.
I think it had a really clear plot that was intriguing because you include narrative hooks, everything's really unsure, you have lots of cliffhangers in there. Good contingency because you have alternatives that have been good to use. I really like the backstory you had behind each character and how they developed further on, how it went down the line, and how things progressed in the story. And the themes, you had a clear idea on all the themes and how they linked in together, and they were good for showing the genre of the piece. and you also included examples of similar films, which I thought was good because we could see what kind of product you were aiming for through your examples of the other films.
Your like backup plans for your different locations are good because they'll be like easy to find and like practical.
Anyone else chip in? Sam?
You had an overall film synopsis, which I think is good because if you don't have that, then you're not going to really know the rest of the film. So by using that, you kind of have an idea of like it is going to be that whole film. Because sometimes with some film openings, it can be completely irrelevant to the actual plot, which I think you did very well.
Good. Anyone else?
You hear a lot about, obviously, the mental Mike. He's having a dream, and that's obviously what the film's based on. That's why the therapist becomes so obsessed and so forth. What actually happens in the dream?
Basically, it's him walking around a woodland area, and you don't actually see. Basically, he's walking around. He wakes up in the forest, and then he's walking around, and then he sees something that's really traumatic. But you just see a reaction shot. You don't actually see what the event is.
Okay.
So part of the film is about uncovering what happens and what
Do-
he sees.
Do you think the dream needs to be a bit more to it rather than walking around some woods? Anybody help chip in? This is what this is all about.
I think
Refining
maybe
ideas.
focus more on the traumatic experience that he goes through, because of course that's what you're basing most of the film off, from what I'm getting. I might be wrong, of course, but because it's such a big part of it, maybe you should, I don't know, maybe show it a little bit more.
I don't know if it needs to be somewhere a bit more interesting than woods.
We are hoping to film it in like an abandoned barn. It's just if we can't get
Yeah.
it, plan B is woods.
Yeah. Don't know. Just kind of think maybe because you kind of want to go. Oh my gosh! What? Why is he even? Is it all? Are you going to film it from point of view shot?
No.
It is going to be him.
Yeah, but as that happens, it's
yeah.
going to be them discussing the dream as a voiceover.
Okay, cool.
How will you show it to dream as well? How will you express it as such?
With the voiceover from the therapy room, it explains that I keep having these dreams.
How do you do it visually though? Were you going to kind of put a colour correction?
Yeah, the colour correction
it.
is going to be like grey, like bleak colours. So
Yeah.
there's going to be quite a lot of drain colour from it.
Yeah.
Would you do anything with the sound as well, or would that need to be clear for the...
We weren't sure if we were actually going to include some music, and it was just going to be like the crinkling, if we did outdoors, like the crinkling of the leaves, or if we did it in the house, like the creaking of the floorboards and stuff.
So like exaggerated sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I do think you need to be like in a kind of like weird place, like a weird house or a weird. I guess a barn would do it, a bit like somewhere odd. So as an audience, we go, oh, what's he doing there?
We did see a really interesting, like the barn that we were looking at was really interesting, but we couldn't actually remember what the place was actually called.
That has those
Remember where it
it's
is.
like saws and stuff in it. that
Oh,
is all
see, yes,
rusty.
see, that would be brilliant. Something like that would be
It was
amazing.
in Devon as well, so it's quite local.
Devon.
Which
Wow.
is,
This is as close as we
Yeah.
could find.
Oh, okay. It's in Scotland as well, so it's fine.